Hello and welcome to The Talk with Tariro. On the program today, we are addressing an issue which is not new, the issue of sexual gender-based violence. But today we are zeroing in on the theme where we are saying, speak it louder. We know we are approaching 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. As much as we've made noise, as much as we've spoken about this issue, we still continue to witness cases of SGBV. If you go to police stations, you go to different organizations that deal with those issues, we still see a number, particularly of women, reporting the issues. And to help us unpack the speak it louder concept, I have Ngobizi Tanya Kunu. He is a communications and advocacy advisor with VSO. Welcome to The Talk with Tariro.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Start off by unpacking it for us. When we are saying with sexual gender-based violence, speak it out, speak it louder. What exactly are we saying?
What we mean by speak it loud, it's a concept that was built, and it literally means speak it loud. These are issues where we are talking about, it's not only about SGBV, but it's also about how much women and girls are being violated and involved in such situations where they don't feel comfortable at all. So speak it loud literally means once you see it, you have to speak it out, you know? A lot of the times we try to hide it, probably it's because of the image or the culture or family issues, how we want to protect that. But in the end, we then find out that we still harbor these things and they continuously happen. So the project is focusing on gender equality and women empowerment. It's also focusing on dealing with issues like SGBV, also as well femicide, and also looking at sexual reproductive health and rights for the women actually. And we want to just zero in the fact that we know, sometimes we know these perpetrators.
Yes.
We also know the survivors of this, and we also know people who can help them. But there seems to be no coordination there. So how then do we work with the people who know about these things and who have the capacity to help these people?
Yes.
So generally, we are looking at, now because we're partnering with WILSA and we're implementing partners, we also bring in the legal side, and then we're focusing on CBOs, about 15 within 3 provinces.
Yes.
That's Manicaland, Mashonaland West, and Mashonaland Central. So we seek to capacitate these organizations so that once they identify these issues, they know how to deal with them and then take them further in eradicating all these systematic activities that are happening.
Yeah. And when we are saying speak it loud, really, it's not just the perpetrator. It's no, the survivor or the victim.
Yes.
Somebody who has been abused.
Yes.
But we are saying, what also are we saying to the community?
Okay.
When we know that this man is abusing this woman, when we know this family, this is exactly what is happening. This is what is happening at this community.
Yes. Well, generally, it's yours and my role to be able to take care of a fellow community member. It's more of not only knowing the survivor and letting the survivor speak it out for themselves, but it's also what is your responsibility in taking care of your sister, of your brother, it may be an aunt or anyone. What is your responsibility in taking care of them and showing them the way or the pathways in how to deal with these situations? There's a lot of things that happen behind. There's a lot of trauma, you know, self-esteem is lowered, and then also as well, they cannot even go ahead with their lives and even dream bigger. But then it's yours and my responsibility also to find out what is my fellow, you know, community member going through. And once you find that out, it won't be, I feel it's more of a capability that you should also handle. You know, it's not about sympathy or empathy. It's also your duty, your citizen duty. When you find another citizen going through that, what is your duty in telling out and in pointing out something that's not right?
No, I'm going to put you on the spot. You being a man, we live in a patriarchal society where culturally men sometimes, you know, disciplining a woman is actually through beating them, and sometimes society says it's okay. It's normal. Even sometimes, even if I go to my family and report, they say, Ndoshinoita Zimba, you know, soldier on, Shingirira, you know. How are you also working to capacitate men so that they do know that SGBV should not be tolerated, should not even be done?
Yes. Definitely you've put me on the spotlight. I hope I'll say something that doesn't castigate me. As men, generally, we shifted from the fact where we are protectors and providers to the fact where we demand respect. For an aspect, I don't feel that is how things have to be carried away. You see, there's a lot of issues that then fall around that. I'll name just a few. You know, for men, you realize there are men who actually hire women to go and find young girls so that they come and satiate their fantasies, which is something that is really bad. But also you find there's an involvement of a woman there. So these are some of the ideas that we need to change, that this is not a process that needs to be done, not only by men, but also women who are also involved in that. The second thing for a man, you do not demand respect or force respect, you earn it. So once you are in a relationship with your wife, you build on your trust, your honesty, and your love. By that, you put yourself at the same pedestal where you can deal with situations by just basically talking. Physical violence doesn't solve an issue. It actually worsens it. So once you beat someone, you engrave anger in them and they seek vengeance. So at the end of the day, it's now a cycle event where someone did this to me, and the next person does that. And also focusing. There's always this statement that we use. What if it was your mother or your sister? You know, putting them back in the context of saying, you have a family. Consider yourself with that person. How would you feel if that's the person? And then also just bringing back the idea that we are supposed to protect and not violate, because it brings more to a man to raise another woman than more of a man to suppress a woman so that she respects him. So this is how we work as men. And also trying to shift the fact that, yes, we are a patriarchal society and we had one vision, you know, but then how beautiful it is and how powerful it is if you capacitate also a woman to be in that focus, you know, decision making, working, balancing finances and all that. Yes, so this is how we work with it.
Well, you're hearing how Ngo is actually saying to us, especially men, we need to be protectors and not abusers. Join us after the break, where I'm going to be joined by Wilsa as we continue to unpack the issue of SGBV and saying, speak it loud. Yes, they're saying speak it loud, and I'm saying speak it even louder and loudest. Join us after the break. Welcome back. We continue with our discussion where we are looking at the issue of speak it loud. But I'm saying speak it loud, louder, and loudest. Here we are looking at the issue of SGBV as we are approaching the period of 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. And now on the program, I'm joined by Hilda Mahumucha, who is a legal officer with Wilsa. And Hilda, I would want you to unpack the issue of SGBV. It's not the first time that we're unpacking it. We've unpacked it before, but really we continue witnessing those issues. So welcome to the talk, and I would want you to start off by unpacking that issue.
Thank you, Tariro. Hello, Zimbabwe. SGBV is a very broad term. Probably, maybe let me start by giving you the literal meaning of SGBV. It is basically an act that is perpetrated against a person's will based on gender norms and power relations. When you talk of power relations, if it's an act against somebody's will, it means there are issues of power and inequality.
Yes.
And according to Section 56 of the Constitution, it provides that no one should be discriminated based on gender. We don't say we're all equal before the law. Hence, we deserve equal protection from the law. But when you look at the issue of gender and its norms, These are unwritten rules or standards we live by.
Yeah.
Where do they emanate from? Unwritten, it's not documented. It's a part of us.
Yes.
It's the way we live, the way we were socialized.
Yes.
And how then do these influence on the way we would then say a man is beating a woman, someone is denying someone access to resources? It's because of the way we were socialized.
And when you're talking about the gender relations, the inequalities, is it usually the men, or there are also cases of men being beaten by women? SGBV, is it common on women, common on men, when you're looking at trends that are available in the country?
Okay. Research provides that it's predominantly the men who is the perpetrator. Culturally, because of the way we were brought up, we were saying women were socialized to be in a subordinate relationship with the men. Hence, they are bound to be under men,
Yes,
culturally.
yes.
Because of that background, women are vulnerable. Hence, they are continuously being exploited by men in various forms.
Yes.
And I also wanted to highlight that the SGBV manifests itself in various forms. It manifests itself sexually, where somebody can be raped. Where there is rape, there is no consent.
Yeah.
Because remember, from the definition, you said against someone's will.
Exactly.
It can manifest itself emotionally. When my husband emotionally abuses me.
It's violence. It's SGBV as well.
Yes, it is. When economically, someone is violating me, my husband depriving me of provisions in the home, I'm emotionally being violated.
So even if I'm depriving my husband economically as well, it's SGBV.
Yes, it is, and it should be reported. Culturally, most men don't report. They're shy. You will be bruising their ego. So they hardly come to
they're
the courts.
reporting where here to the police. Where do you report? Like economic violence?
The remedy to economic violence is maintenance in a marriage setup. So basically, you can come to Wilsa, you come to the civil court. If you come to Wilsa, mostly men can come to Wilsa because there is a degree of privacy. Then we can facilitate maintenance. But there are other factors to be considered.
I would want a day with you, another day to actually discuss that issue where because usually when you're talking about maintenance, it's women who actually go and claim maintenance. But from what you're saying, men can also access that service where a woman has to maintain the men. I would want us to unpack that one
yes,
fine day.
Especially depending on the type of marriage, the contract they are in. Mostly 511.
511.
You're bound, yes.
Yeah, you're bound.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a bit tricky on the cultural.
And then when you're looking at these cases of SGBVS, they can be psychological, economical, physical,
sexual.
all these sexual, all these. Why are they increasing globally? Because if you research, you read anywhere in Zim, they're increasing on a day-to-day basis, no matter how much noise we make.
Yes. Tariro, we're in a pandemic of COVID. And this is a global issue. Being a global issue, Zimbabwe is not an exception. And because of that, what about COVID? How has it impacted on SGBV? One is bound then to consider that there are policies that came along with COVID in a bid to try and curb the spread of COVID. There were restrictions in terms of movement. For instance, in the case of Zimbabwe, there was SI 77 of 2020, where people were restricted to move around. 2, national lockdown. Lockdown has not been exclusive to Zimbabwe. It was a global step towards curbing the spread of. And because of all that, then you'd say, within this context and setting of COVID, there's been a marked increase of SGBV cases. Why? Because the woman and the girl whom we are trying to protect from the perpetrator, who is mostly the man, I'll emphasize mostly the men. They are communing together in the house. They are living together because of the restrictions that are affecting everybody across the board.
So what really can be done?
This is not an individual war. It's a teamwork. It calls for everybody to be involved in order to eradicate or to eliminate SGBV. At first, this can be approached in 2 ways. Let's say through advocacy. But at times you find that The issue is mainly anchored around, if people are not aware of their rights, they'll never report.
Yes.
People who have normalized wife battery, people have normalized economic abuse, like what we discussed earlier. So the first issue or port of call would be to capacitate the victims, who are mostly women and girls. Speak it aloud. Let's capacitate them to be aware of their rights.
Yes.
And then they'll be able to speak aloud.
Yeah.
So the issue starts with capacitating, educating.
Yes.
And then they can speak about what they are assertive to demand and claim their rights because they are now aware of them.
Indeed, Hilda, I can see there's still a lot of issues that we need to continue unpacking. So we'll continue with our discussion after the break. Sit back, join us. Welcome back. We continue with our discussion where we are looking at Speak It Loud. And Hilda, you've spoken about the need for people to actually report when violence has occurred, no matter how trivial it might look, or how small, or how society can actually try and normalize it. What I want to find out is maybe share with Zimbabweans the referral pathways that one can actually follow. Sometimes it might be difficult for me to even go and report. We know the stigma that is attached to that. We know how society views all those things. So just share with us the referral pathway.
Thank you very much. I would like to maybe to link and say, when we talk of speaking it loud as a theme, it is premised from the notion of reporting an incident of SGBV. Yes. When you speak it loud, you are reporting, it's known, it's being adjudicated in the court of law. Hence, it's louder.
Yes.
And the perpetrator is exposed. When we talk of reporting referral pathway or the reporting protocol, we are basically trying to say, where do you start? And you are a victim.
Yes.
But however, this is circumstantial. Where is the victim in the first place? At community level, we are looking at a situation whereby we do not have hospitals and clinics nearby. Let's assume it's an incident of sexual incident where somebody has been raped. Under such circumstances, the reporting of the first port of call is circumstantial. Should there be a nearest police station, you'd rather rush there. It is the police who would then refer the next, facilitate you to get assistance, the medical assistance that is required. If you start with Wilsa, maybe with a community, focal person at Wilsa, within a community, that person will refer you to the police and then hospital. So basically, there is the link that is connecting all these organizations and line ministries that are responsible, that are watchdogs at community level when it comes to. So the referral pathway on the book is there, but to report it is circumstantial. Where have you been raped? If you're at school, where do you go? It's the school authority, then the nearest police station, the nearest clinic, depending on your. But when it's in town.
But there are times where people would go and report, and then we witness or we hear of delays now in these cases being resolved, which sort of disheartens the victim, the survivor, to then say, yes, I've reported, but what has happened? You still continue seeing the perpetrator with you in the community walking around. Case is not being resolved. From a legal point of view, maybe unpack that for us.
Okay. In circumstances where you'd find that a case has been reported and time has lapsed, for instance, in the case of rape, when it's supposed to be reported within 72 hours and evidence needs to be preserved. But the issue is not really about the structures or the bureaucracy that is involved in handling such cases. The issue is about, does the victim know her rights? What is the next door to knock then? When I go to the police, they don't respond to me. But I know I've been raped and I should report within 72 hours. My next port of call should be the clinic. So personally, I feel we have got more work, more duty to educate the potential survivors, women and girls, to be aware, what we can say, self-advocacy as a strategy, to know themselves and their rights, so that if they go to the police and the police do not act upon their issues, they can come to organizations such as WILSA, Zwala, MSASA, and then we act upon it. So that, because legally, we believe as WILSA as an organization that justice delayed is justice denied.
Yes.
So if you don't get it right at the police, come to WILSA, make use of our toll-free numbers, go to Zwala, go to Musasa, go to the hospital. Any of such which is nearer to you. I would like also to appreciate that with the Ministry of Home Affairs, they are making an effort in trying to curb these barriers in as far as the reporting protocol are concerned. They are establishing community police stations. It could be manned by 2 police officers. But it's at least it's something.
Something, exactly.
Somebody in the community would then go and report. And from there, we've established a network of line ministries and organizations that are dealing with such issues, so that it becomes easy. But the main thing is, for a survivor to speak out, she should be aware of her rights. If her rights are not, if she's not assertive, then we have no starting point.
Exactly.
She will not report at all. Because silence itself.
And how do we get to know about our rights?
This is one of our, through advocacy. And this is one of the role we are taking up as WILS and other women's organizations.
Are you reaching everyone? Because I'm in Uzumba Maramba Pfungwa. Are you reaching everyone? I'm in Gutu, I'm in Chivi, I'm in Dotito. Are you reaching everyone? So that, whereas we say every woman gets to know their rights.
Thank you very much. All the areas that you have mentioned, WILSA's office is there. We work with the courts where we offer legal aid services for free. And we also work with the communities where we have established community focal persons who are trained to be paralegals. They know basic law. And when somebody approaches them within the community, these are live within the communities for ease. So basically, this can be monitored virtually. When a person is violated, can report to a community focal person within her locality, and that community focal person will then communicate to WILSA, and then we know the steps to take. We are trying. It's a process, but change takes time.
And what would be your message to women and girls to join in this fight where we are saying, speak it loud? We know they are the ones who are the most affected. How can they join this cause?
The only way, an effective way for women and girls to join this worthy cause is by being a sister's keeper. Be a watchdog. It doesn't matter whether you are related to the victim, because one day you'll be a victim. So be each other's keeper. And let's use anonymous tip-offs. Let's use all areas where we can report, the nearest possible police station, the nearest possible person of influence, be it a school headmaster, if they are not police officers, or any person from the line ministries. But I'm saying, let's gun up for it, speak it loud, report, and report.
Let's be each other's keeper. She's saying, speak it loud, report. We are talking about getting to 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. And for us on the Talk with Tariro, we are saying sexual gender-based violence has no place and should never have a place in our community. So let's speak it loud. That is the only way we will put an end to it. Until we meet again next week, it's goodbye.